An important GTA 5 subplot was the war on funding between the in-game government agencies, the IAA, which is a parody of the CIA, and the FIB, which is a parody of course, the FBI. And we know that there was some sort of rivalry between the two, but what was it about really, and how were the characters like Steve Haynes, Dave Norton, or even Mr. K involved in this whole thing? So first, let's clear up the reason for the whole thing, and that is, as you may have guessed, government money. Both agencies wanted to get as much government funds as possible to finance the various shady shit that they do to make themselves seem more like the heroes and or the good guys, while at the same time making the other agency seem corrupt, useless, and so on, doing everything to paint themselves in a far better light than the other, while in reality, both agencies are equally as corrupt and do just as much shady shit as the other one. This is kind of seen already right before the mission Blitz play, where Dave and Steve say that they're corrupt but in a good way, just as a means to get the main characters on board to go on yet another borderline suicidal mission for the two. Now, our main characters are no idiots, and they know that the FIB is not in any way better than the IAA, but we know that they have other motives for working for them. So it's not like they really are blind to the whole thing, they really just don't care. Also, if you're enjoying this video right now, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel, as it would help me out a lot. We are currently trying to get to 1400 subscribers, so let's make that happen. And also feel free to check out my channel memberships if that's something you're interested in, and share this video with your friends and family, or maybe not with your family. Moving on to Mr. K, this is where both agencies ended up looking like idiots because they were under the impression that he was some sort of spy. The IAA were the first ones, and they got him and they tried to beat information out of him. Now I won't go into the details of how they tried to do it because, well, if you play the Mission 3's company, you know. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, good, keep it that way. Anyway, the FIB then tried to get Mr. K and essentially get the info out of him so that they can be the first ones to solve this massive terrorist case, or whatever the heck this thing was, which both agencies assumed that Mr. K was a part of. Also, let me clear that up. It is pretty unlikely that he is a spy of any sorts, and that he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and just happened to know this one dude who both agencies saw as a suspect. By the time we get to the Mission Monkey business though, Steve Haynes claims that he has some sources that are convinced that the IAA is making some sort of nerve toxin in a place that is ironically enough called Humane Labs. Nothing humane about that place though, because the IAA planned to drop this nerve toxin thing that they're developing out there on a US metropolitan area, for which they would blame terrorists or whoever else they could blame, just so that they themselves then can come in and solve this thing, which would, as I said, make them look like heroes, and most importantly, squeeze out more of the government's money. And while the in-game news later on claims that the nerve toxin was just a perfume formula, it's kind of obvious that that wasn't the case and that that was just a cover-up story, considering how much security we have to go through to get to that damn thing. All of this tension was bound to lead to a shit show, and that is exactly what happens in the wrap-up mission, where it's not only the fact that the IAA somehow figured out that Steve was behind the FIB raid, which we did just before that, but the meeting is also interrupted by Agent Sanchez's FIB division, the IAA, and even Merriweather. Now we know that the IAA was all excited because imagine the fat pile of cash that they would get had they actually caught and arrested Steve Haynes for all the shady shit he did. So that's why they were there in the first place. They likely tailed Steve or maybe Dave and caught them red-handed in the act. So ultimately the whole thing was a matter of just two government agencies fighting and pointing the finger at each other and trying to frame each other as the corrupt bad guys, all with the goal of getting more of the government's money for themselves, when in reality both agencies were equally corrupt and did not give two shits about the greater good and only their personal gain and benefit. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. Again, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Until the next video stream, bye bye.